Real estate agents, there were some changes made to the California RPA. Are you ready for them? Hey guys, I'm Brittany. I'm a real estate agent, coach, and investor, and I want to talk to you about the changes to the RPA. It's June 2024, and they've just released some new forms, and I want to make sure that you know what the changes are. So let's take a look. So we just have the draft, and the draft, you can see all the changes are in red. So I'm just going to go over what has changed in red because that is really what's most important. So you can see here that most everything has stayed the same, but now we have this insurance contingency. This is really good because in California, there have been a lot of insurance companies who are pulling out of insuring in California. Some won't even grandfather California properties in. Now, for the most part, you can find insurance companies who will cover California properties, but you want to make sure that if you can't, you have this contingency in place. So I think this is really positive. And because of this change, it now changes a bunch of other things underneath it. So you can see there's this insurance contingency, and when you go to fill it in, it's the same default 17 days as all these other contingencies, so you can just leave it blank and you automatically have that contingency built in. And then it changes all of these numbers. And remember, all of these numbers are reflected down below with the explanation of what this is. So if your clients have questions on it, or if you have questions on it, you should be sure to read the entire thing from top to bottom before you're ever asking a client to sign. So a couple new things is they've just added this common interest in disclosures, and then they said per civil code, blah, blah, blah. Review of leased or liened items, and they put, for example, solar panels or propane tanks. So a lot of times you might talk to a seller and they'll say, no, nothing's leased, nothing's liened, we don't have anything like that. And then we pull title and we see, well, there's a solar lien against your property. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We got that 15 years ago and didn't even cross my mind. So this is just meant to include any of those things. And then here it changed to seller shall disclose if occupied by anyone. Okay, great. Here they changed this to an optional wildfire disclosure. This is good because it used to be a wildfire disclosure report and people would get confused because it was automatically on there and they were like, what are we doing? How are we doing this? This is totally optional. So now this just made it clear that it's optional. This just added in another report. So if you as the buyer were requesting the seller to pay for additional reports, then that's where they would be. And then a lot of this stuff is just changing because based on what was above. So this says, except as specified on paragraph 9C, seller is not responsible to repair any holes left after the removal of any wall hangings such as pictures and mirrors, brackets, nails, or other fascinating devices. So basically it used to have a little checkbox that said that it needs to be clear of all of that by the time that people move out. That was a little bit of a challenge. So now it's saying that the seller is not responsible for that unless it was previously negotiated. And then, of course, you can see that they needed to change all of this because they added something. So that's no big deal. Then we have investigation for property. So that it just adds the insurance. So it says, this agreement, as specified above, is contingent upon buyer's assessment of the availability and approval of the cost for any insurance policy desired under this agreement. So this is not saying that they can get insurance. This is saying that they can get insurance that they are agreeing to, because the cost of insurance can be very prohibitive. And now it makes it so that they can't afford this house. And so that's what this is trying to say. And it's saying, even if the cost of insurance is too high, they're able to pull out based on this new insurance contingency. And then there are a couple other changes here and there, no big deal. Here's a new one: the balcony, exterior stairways, and other elevated elements. For properties with any building containing 3 or more dwelling units with elevated balconies, stairways, or other elements, seller shall, within the time specified above, deliver to buyer the wooden balcony and stairs addendum. This is mainly if you're looking at a condo or townhome or something like that where it is largely supported by wood. If it is, then you need this addendum. And so this is a really important one that you need to be aware of, because even a lot of condo associations aren't aware of it yet. And so you have to make sure that you are working with somebody who is aware of it, in compliance of it. And if they're not, then you need to make them aware of it. So you refer to whatever it is in that document, and whatever is listed, that's what needs to be complied with. So keep that in mind, that this is totally new and it's a separate document, but you want to make yourself aware of it, especially for a condo or something that is kind of a shared unit. That's when you're really going to find this. So then this says investigation of other matters affecting the property other than those as specified in separate contingencies. Buyer investigations do not include, among other things, an assessment of the availability and cost of general homeowners insurance, flood insurance, and fire insurance. So now they're clarifying that these contingencies stand alone. They're not combined. So if you remove the inspection contingency, the insurance contingency still stays. If you move the insurance contingency, the inspection contingency still stays. They're not interrelated. Now we keep going down and we say, it adds here, buyer is advised not to remove any contingencies related to the review of documents until after the documents have been delivered. So if the seller disclosure timeline has come and gone and they haven't received the documents, you don't want to remove those contingencies. You want to wait until those documents have been delivered to remove those contingencies. And that's all that says. Then we're seeing the notice of buyer to perform. So notice of buyer to perform shall be in writing, signed, other party given 2 days to perform, blah, blah, blah. And down here it says 2 days prior to the schedule. A notice to buyer to perform or notice of seller to perform may not be delivered any earlier than 2 days prior to the scheduled performance day to remove a contingency or cancel the agreement to meet an obligation specified in paragraph 14, except for close of escrow, what shall be delivered upon the terms of paragraph 14G. This is just saying this is a different paragraph, so still same things apply. Then it's saying whether or not the scheduled performance day falls on Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday. If a notice of buyer to perform or notice seller to perform is incorrectly delivered or specifies a time less than the agreed time, the notice shall be deemed invalid and void. However, if the notice is for multiple items, the notice shall be valid for all contingencies and contractual actions for which the delivery of the notice is written in the time permitted in the agreement, void as to the others. So it's basically just saying you can have multiple things on there. Okay, that was a lot and it was boring. This is just clarifying verbiage for the offer of buyer compensation. And then this is going to say the escrow holder shall provide buyer and seller either jointly or separately a closing statement or other written documentation showing the amount of compensation paid to respectively buyer's broker and seller's broker. So this is saying that now the buyers and sellers are going to know how much compensation was given to the agents. And so with the closing documents or whatever it is, it's going to show exactly how much was paid to the buyer's agent and to the seller's agent. This is that added transparency that this NAR settlement is bringing about. A document, or as applicable, link to a document shall be deemed to be in possession if located in the inbox of the applicable party or authorized agent. So basically down below where you sign and it says that your email is an authorized delivery method, this is saying that it's considered delivered once it's in your inbox. And so if you have it in your inbox, then you have it delivered and you don't have to have a physical copy or that type of thing. We had already seen some of those changes and there are a couple more, and they included a new form, the DEDA. So let's keep going. Fair appraisal. This is just information that was in the Fair Appraisal Act is also now integrated into the RPA. And then this is talking about probate and specifying entity names. Same thing here. And then down here, this is where we're writing in compensation. So the compensation offered. seller's broker agreement agrees to pay buyer broker, and buyer's broker agrees to accept out of seller's broker proceeds in escrow the compensation specified in a separate written agreement, which you add that to the RLA. Each broker agrees to disclose to their seller or buyer client the amount in the CBC. So this is in addition, they're saying, yes, we know this, we're agreeing to this. And then here's where that designated electronic delivery is the email. It defaults to your email. So now you don't have to click anything else. Or if you want to write something else in, you can write something else in. And then if you have an alternate delivery method, that's where this DEDA comes in. Same thing here for the listing agent. And that's it. We've come to the end. In another video, I'm going to go over how to actually fill this out and what are some of the highlights to look for. So keep an eye out for that video. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you get notified when videos just like this come out, and we'll see you in the next video.